Welcome to Founders Future, a podcast powered by Closers.io, where we dive into the journeys of innovative entrepreneurs and explore the road ahead of them and their companies. I'm your host, Olivia Salmons, and in each episode, we'll uncover the stories behind impactful ventures, the challenges faced along the way, and the strategies driving their future growth. Today, we're joined by Christian Palmer, the founder of Relentless Fitness and Nutrition, a coaching brand built around accountability, performance, and lasting change that helps individuals transform physically and mentally through disciplined training, nutrition, and mindset. Christian focuses on accountability and long-term lifestyle change for his clients. Christian, very warm welcome to Founders Future. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure to have you here, honestly. With all my guests, I like to start at the beginning of their journey. So can you maybe take me back to what it was that you was doing before you jumped into the coaching world, and then what motivated you to do so from there?
Absolutely. So my coaching endeavor really started in high school when I realized I had a knack for coaching. So I'll give you the sort of long and short. So when I was in high school, I was always very active. I did martial arts, I did football, track and field, BMX, skateboarding. If there was movement, if there was speed, danger, I'm all about it. I was at my dad's house and I was searching the internet for something, and I came across a picture of a pro bodybuilder. And he was just standing there, just hanging out backstage at a show. And I was like, oh my God, I want to look just like that. So that day I started lifting. So it happened to be that when I was in track and field, I asked the coach, hey coach, can I start using the weight room after practice is done? He's like, yeah, just make sure you lock up when you're done. My friends started to see me go there and they're like, hey Christian, can we join you? So it ended up being, I ended up coaching them because they're like, all right, just tell us what to do. We'll just do what you do. And
Yeah.
I started to coach them. I realized I had a knack for whatever I was doing. I could get them to do it with good form and they would understand the process. I could explain things well. So I'm like, oh, this is cool. But I didn't think of myself as a coach. I'm like, I'm just with my buddies. We're having a good time, just enjoying life, getting jacked and shredded.
Love
So
that.
after that, I went to college for exercise science. And when
Cool.
I was in my early 20s, it was in 2011, my mom was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. So what that did, I was already interested in nutrition. As a matter of fact, I remember that day when I searched and found that bodybuilder, his name was Garrett Downing. I also just intuitively, I'm like, in order to look that way, I probably have to eat a certain way. It was just intuitive. I didn't have any coaching. So I must have printed out a stack of papers the size of Webster's dictionary, used up all my dad's printing paper, and it just said, hey, eat every 2 hours, eat these things, protein, and so forth. So I was already very interested in nutrition, reading everything I could get my hands on. Then
Yeah.
once my mom, years later, was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, then it became really serious. I'm like, okay, I want to help her. Obviously, I love my mom. I want her to be around forever. So I'm like, okay, I started researching, okay, nutrition, carbohydrates, okay, what is insulin? What is diabetes? What is insulin resistance? So on and so forth. And as time went on, years down the road, I was able to help her adopt a better way of eating. Now, my mom's Italian. So I grew up in a kitchen
Yeah.
with a lot of Italian traditional foods, pastas, breads, all the good stuff, right? That may not be best for a diabetic. So after a while, and well, I shouldn't say, but plenty of pushing on my end, maybe a little too pushy, she had adopted some healthier ways to make some of the dishes that she always loved. And now
Nice.
I'm proud to say that she doesn't need insulin anymore. She's lost a bunch of weight. She feels great. She's healthy and everything is fantastic. And I realized when I helped her, I'm like, if I helped her, then I could probably help other people. Now I'm still in college, going through, getting my degree, learning more about
Mm.
nutrition. So fast forward after college, which I was still working a retail job, I got my first job as a personal trainer at an Equinox. And
Okay.
Equinox in Westchester, there's a lot of affluent people, right? So a lot of CEOs, executives, entrepreneurs. And in talking with these guys, I realized a lot of them had the same struggles. They had plenty of zeros in the bank. They were successful guys conquering the world, working on Wall Street or building their Fortune 100, Fortune 500 businesses, but they had very little time. They were not proud of the man that they saw in the mirror, and they felt like a shell of themselves. They didn't have the energy or vigor that they once had. So after helping these guys gain their vitality back, and I'm a firm believer that every man should be his kid's superhero. And when I
Mm.
was able to give that back to these guys, when they're like, you know what? I want to be a better example for my family. I want to be able to run and play with my kids and not say,
Mm.
oh, daddy will do it tomorrow. My back hurts, my knee hurts. I'm too tired from a long day of phone calls, meetings, and so forth. And I realized that I had a lot of the same desires as them: be financially successful, be very fit. Of course, I compete as a bodybuilder, so that sort of comes with the territory. And I really connected with these guys. And I realized that we would have some deep conversations and they would say, look, man, my relationship with my wife is not the greatest. I
Mm.
want to be a better partner. I want to be a better example for my kids. When they look at me, I want them to look at me like they do the superheroes on TV. And I'm like, I love that's the passion that's going to help you become the 2.0 version of yourself. So eventually, after working at Equinox for 6 years, I realized I loved helping these guys out and seeing the pride in their face when they changed their body and they felt great. And they were able to get that little sparkle in their eyes that their kids would have when they looked at their dad. There was a couple occasions, one of them that stands out. One of my clients, Stan, he was with his son at a hockey game. And his son had it was like a tournament. And between two games, him and the kids were just playing around. And they were playing on these set of bleachers, and the bleachers were high, so the kids are running and jumping on them. And Stan's son, Jack, was like, "Hey, Dad, I bet you can't jump on those bleachers." And he's like, "Oh, yeah, sure I can." He's like, "All right, let's see it." And he does it, and his kids, "Oh my God, that's so cool. My dad's athletic, and I didn't think he."
Yeah.
And when Stan told me that when I went to train him that Monday, the pride that I saw in his eyes, I'm like, you know what? That's what it's about. And then I just started to focus on coaching men. I still do coach women, but men, helping them regain their vitality, building muscle, burning fat, building unshakable confidence, and becoming the 2.0 version of themselves is what really gave me fulfillment. And that's what evolved my brand today. A little bit of a fast forward from working at Equinox. After 6 years of being there, I thought to myself, you know what? I've always been the kind of guy that I want to do things my way, right?
Yeah.
I don't want to be management here. I've seen the ceiling. I'm doing great as a trainer. I was one of the best there. And I'm like, I got to start my own business. So in March of 2019, I left Equinox, started my own business, and the rest is history.
Love it. Amazing. And doing what you love the most, helping people out from the start and just muddling through and getting it done from there. Amazing. So, in terms of the program itself, how long is it you'll typically spend with a man when you're trying to help in this process? Is it on a one-to-one level, mainly online, or is it like a group kind of situation as well? How does that side of it look?
So right now it's primarily online.
Nice.
And as far as the amount of time, it's generally between 6 months to a year. Usually, when guys come on board, they've got more weight to lose than they may realize. So,
Yeah.
oftentimes, it's about 7 months to a year. And in that process, it's really so much more than just eating and exercising. It's really about changing their identity into the version of themselves who is the fit guy. Because a lot of them say, oh, with a lifestyle and a business like mine, guys like us don't really have bodies like that. And I'm like, oh, really? And when
Mm.
they have the progress, they're like, oh my God, I didn't think this was possible. I didn't think I could have abs. Abs as a
Mm.
48-year-old guy with three kids who's on the train every day going to work. This is wild. I feel energy when I come home at the end of the day. I don't have to, I get to give my family the best of me instead of
Yeah.
what's left from a stressful day. And it really changed the way that I looked at the possibilities of how many men I could help because it's my mission to help 1 million men and then 10 million men, and the number's going
Yeah.
to keep going up from there.
Love it.
Yeah, and what I love is that kind of selfishly, I also get some mentoring from these guys because I remember back at Equinox, these guys are big, heavy hitters in the business world. And it's funny because some of them I would actually start reading about them after I started coaching them. Oh my God, I didn't realize I
Mm.
was training this guy. So I'd ask them about, okay, when you started your business, what was the biggest risk you took? How did you finance this? So a lot of them are lawyers. How do you deal with these scenarios? How do you build a team and interview people and scale and
Yeah.
so on and so forth? So it was so much fun for me on so many different levels. And then seeing the way that they grew both physically and mentally was incredible.
Love it. And you can pick their brain while you do it, which is really cool as well, helping you out in because that's the problem with being an entrepreneur as well. As much as like you're very good at fitness and you know what you're talking about in terms of nutrition and what you do and what you love to do. But that other side of it's very new. If you're not in that space or you've never worked within that world before, it's so good that you have people that you're helping that are also going to help you with aspects of your life as well, which is really cool. And then, so in terms of lead generation and marketing at the moment, what are you finding is working well for you when you're acquiring customers?
Great question. So, primarily right now, it's social media and word of mouth. I
Mm.
actually have never done a paid ad to this point.
Oh,
So,
really?
I do a lot with referrals with clients. Hey, if you've loved your experience in working with me and you feel like we've changed your life, who else do you know that that you feel should
Yeah.
be working with me? And then social media obviously was a big part to it. It's free marketing. I also do public speaking, having local events, whether it could be at a real estate agent's event, or it could be if any of my guys who that own financial organizations, if they have like a lunch and learn sort of situation, those have been very successful as well. Primarily social media and word of mouth have been my two most
Right.
effective, and the next step will be paid ads.
Nice. So that's the next step. So mainly organic at the moment, which is great that you've taken skyrocketed from there because it's a hard process to do with the organic approach on social media. So mainly where are you finding most effective with this is on Instagram, like across Meta or YouTube? Is there a preferred platform at the moment?
So the ones that I've focused the most on are Instagram and Facebook. The
Okay,
one I'm
cool.
just starting to ramp up, it's interesting you're asking this because I'm just this month starting to ramp up my YouTube, is that's
Nice.
what's next. Because I'm
Mhm.
finding that a lot of guys, they love to learn how to, right? And especially
Yeah,
when you have guys who are busy, they're like, hey, give me the facts, give me the techniques. Instagram's great, but I'm also realizing that, and I'm sure you know this better than anyone, is building a brand is so important, and we are all our own brand.
exactly.
Instagram is good, but a 1 minute clip doesn't necessarily give you the full depth of someone
Mm.
and who they are, what they stand for, what their beliefs are. Because we really buy from people, not necessarily the product they're selling. And YouTube gives you that opportunity where, hey, a 20-minute video, a guy might be like, dude, this guy's awesome.
Yeah.
I love this guy. Okay, we're definitely going to do business. Or I definitely want him to be my coach. Versus Instagram, where you're like, all right, good tips, great ideas on changing my mindset, but building that know and trust factor. I've seen with my business coaches and with a few videos I've done on YouTube is much better. It's easier to build that on YouTube, and it does take a little bit longer on Instagram. Although you do get a lot of engagement on Instagram.
Yeah, engagement's higher on Instagram. If you get the connection right on the front end, so if you get the reel right, like the 30-minute what you're trying to capture, then the engagement's very good as well on the back end of it.
Right.
But as you say, it's easier to build rapport with a longer video, which is why YouTube's so great. It's like honestly, you have a face-to-face magnet with the person. So really cool that you're pushing that through. And then, so what does the sales process look like for you? So once you've acquired a customer and they've reached out, do you hop on a sales call with them? Is it more like interaction within the DMs to make sure it's a good fit? How do you calibrate if you want to work with somebody?
Okay, so if someone were to reach out to me as a referral, then either I'll typically text them and say, hey, such and such referred you, mention that
Mm,
you're interested in achieving these goals. Tell me a little bit about that. I always want to create a little bit of a conversation up front just to make sure, one, we're aligned, right? Because setting up a call is no problem, but I want them
yeah,
to start thinking about, okay, what do I really want to accomplish? Because when I first started business, it was just like anybody. Okay, just I don't care. Oh, you think you might want to lose 5 pounds? All right, let's talk. Now it's, are you the right client for my system? Like you said, going to be a good fit. So if it's a referral, it would be a text message conversation, maybe hop on a quick 3, 4 minute call, typically text. And then I'll send them a link where they will apply for coaching because this is something I've learned. And again, this changes as your business grows. Is in the beginning, you say yes to everybody. And
yeah,
then when you realize I don't necessarily want to train the 8-year-old kid who's into sports, but doesn't have the greatest attention span because it's more, hey, okay, I guess I'll play chaperone for the day
yeah,
versus, and obviously my high-end online coaching is not for that kid. And the same thing with someone who's just not motivated, where I've had countless conversations where, oh yeah, I kind of want to achieve. Yeah, I think maybe. I'm like, I'm not
yeah,
right for you. I'm like, because I am going to be on you. Accountability is the name of the game. And if I want this more than you, unfortunately, hey, there's plenty of other great coaches, but you
yeah,
will build a better client base and be much less stressed, and you can charge more, which is essentially the goal. Is you want to charge what you're worth, but you have
exactly.
to make sure you provide the value. And the better, it's just like a relationship. Everything is relationships. Everything's people.
Mm,
It's that just like when you want to find a partner, girlfriend, boyfriend, husband, wife, it has to be a good match to
yeah,
last the long term. Versus we kind of like each other. We like the same food, so I guess that's enough.
nice.
So when it comes to someone who is, let's say, interested through the DMs, I'll definitely ask them some questions. I'll say, so tell me a little bit about what you're working towards. And depending on what it is, I'll try to get them a little bit specific right there. So again, I can see, is this going to be a good fit? Do they really know what they want? And then after that, oh, hey, I think I've got some strategies that I think would help for accomplishing that. I'll say, let's hop on a call and see if we're a good fit. And then we'll discuss the coaching process. And it's
Nice.
really a coaching application process. It used to just be hop on the call, I'm going to try to sell you. Now it's, is this going to be a good fit? Because
Yeah,
not only here's what you get because you have expectations, here's what I expect and what's going to make our client coach relationship work and ultimately you getting the results you want.
hmm. Yeah, the qualification on their end is very important because, as you say, when you're starting out, yeah, you want as much traffic coming in the door as possible. You want the testimonials, you want the money coming through. But as you scale and get bigger, your time becomes more valuable. So charge people for that valuable time. make sure that they're getting the most out of it, you're getting the most out of it, and it's a fit moving forward. It's honestly better for everybody. It's pretty much common sense to me. I find it weird when we get founders on and they don't understand the process, but pretty cool. So, what is the ultimate goal with this? How far are we looking to take it? I know you mentioned earlier you want to help 1 million men to start with, and then it's going to go to 10 million, 20 million. I can see the tunnels end like never ending. But what is the goal to scale? How far are we going to push it?
That is a great question. So the 1 million to 10 million is what my focus is now. And as far as the different aspects of the business that are growing is that I'm online. I still have a few clients who I train in person that I've trained for
Mm,
now coming up on about 10 years. Eventually, I will move on from that because building a brand, building a business, you build a team, and then I'm the face of the brand. So traveling, speaking,
yeah.
podcast content, that's how you grow in today's world. And eventually, which I've already done one live event and I will be doing more, is the Empowerment Men's event. So that's a live event that men can come to learn about health optimization, hormone optimization, character development, becoming the 2.0 version of yourself, and how to build the body, life, and mindset you want as a busy
Mm,
professional, as a successful man. And those events are going to be great because the people that come get to network with each other. And then I'll be introducing them and having people present who are the leaders in their field, whether it's in hormone optimization, in
yeah.
cardiac health, right, in longevity, and so on and so forth, strength and conditioning. And I'm very excited about that. And then eventually I'll turn that into an online course so that
Very
if I
cool.
have someone in London or Spain, right, that wants to take it and they're like, I don't know if I can make a trip to the US, cool. Here's a course. It's going to be
Love
6 weeks
it.
or 4 weeks. And those are the primary focuses now. I realized that I used to take on very, what do they say? You're don't put more on your plate than you can actually eat. And that used to be an issue of mine. I'm like, I'm going to do everything today. So we're going to work on
Mm,
this. And you spread yourself so thin. And having business coaches over the years, they're like, look, yes, you're going to conquer the world, but let's start with these three things,
yeah.
get proficient, build them, then we can move on to the next. So that's been definitely an evolution in my identity as a business owner and how to
Mm,
create efficiency, how to scale properly, and really, and this will probably be valuable, I think, to much of your audiences. You have to identify with who you are in the business.
yeah.
Meaning, if you're a coach, that's great to be a coach, but a coach is not a business owner. So the coach doesn't focus on building a team. The coach says, I want more clients for me.
Yeah.
The owner says, okay, we're going to hire some coaches. We've got an admin we're going to hire. We've got to get more clients for us as the business. Okay, this client will be a great mix for you, Josh. This client will be a great mix for you, Jane. And then you start to build that business. And okay, I've got to be in London to speak. I've got
Yeah.
to be in California to speak. And you build that business underneath you. And then you create that culture of what is your brand? What do you guys stand
Mm,
for? And that's been a huge change that my business coach has gotten me to embrace. And it's hard because in the beginning, it's always, if you want something done right, do it yourself. And you're like, some things, but some things you do have to delegate.
it's very true. It's very true. And it's something a lot of founders don't realize is you can't build a business around you because you will become the bottleneck when you look to scale. As you're saying, you can't just be a coach forever. You need to eventually step away. You can be a coach, but delegate other things if that's what you want to do and be on top of everything else while you do your job. So yeah, clarity moving forward and simplicity I always feel is great when scaling. Just have a great system moving forward. So as a final question to you before we log out, Christian, what if you could go back to a younger self, maybe one before the madness started and we jumped into entrepreneurship, and you could only leave yourself with one piece of advice moving forward that you know now that you didn't know then, what would you say to yourself?
Start sooner.
Mm.
This is something that I noticed in the past. I say held me back, meaning I could have started the business sooner. We'll go back to my first bodybuilding. I waited because I thought I had to look this level, which is unattainable for someone who's just starting out. I was working out in a Gold's Gym, the first Gold Gym that I'd ever worked out at back where I used to live. And I'd been training for years. My friends would always ask me, when are you going to compete? When are you going to compete? Eventually, I still got to be better, still got to be better. This guy approaches me. His name was Mike Gentile in the gym. And he's like, hey, man. And I was, what was I, early 20s, like, hey, kid, he's like, you compete? I'm like, no, but I want to. He's like, take your shirt off. Right in the middle of the gym, take your shirt off. He's like, you got a good physique. There's a show in 7 weeks. I think you should do it. I'm like, okay, that's great, but I don't have a coach. He's like, I'll tell you what, you do everything I say. I think you'll do well. I won't even charge you. I was like, really? So did everything he said, and I got third. And I was like, there's my
Okay.
start. And I think with someone has great intentions and big dreams, you got to really say yes to more things. I think it might have been the movie. I hope I don't get this wrong, but one of it's Bruce Almighty. It might not have been that one, but it was one with Jim Carrey where he said yes to everything.
Oh, yes, man.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
Yes, man. It's easy.
Exactly. So a lot of times we say, oh, it's not the right time. It's not the right time. It's not the right time. It's not the right time to get funding. It's not the right time to start the business. I'm too
Yeah,
busy. The kids are at camp. It's summer. It's the holidays. And one of my close buddies, which it's no like crazy statement, but it's always the perfect time.
it is.
Yes, there are challenges, but that's life. And for me, I should have done that first competition sooner, but hindsight is 2020. Should have started my business sooner. Hindsight is 2020. So I would say do things sooner. And now I operate on the opposite end of the spectrum. And I learned this, I heard this term first from Grant Cardone, which is commit now, figure it out later.
Love.
Anybody gives me a great opportunity, all right, let's do it. I was like, how are you going to make that happen? Don't worry, we'll figure it out. And
Yeah,
it has
exactly.
served me insanely well every single time. So that is what I will leave with your audience is commit now, figure it out later. It is always the perfect.
Amazing. Love that. And thank you so much for joining me today, Christian, and for sharing your incredible journey and insight with us. Where can people reach out to work with you or connect with you if they would like to?
So on Instagram, it's Christian F. Palmer. On YouTube, it is Christian F. Palmer. And Facebook, it is Christian Palmer. So just use my name and you will find.
Perfect. Amazing. Thank you so much. And to our listeners, if you enjoyed this episode, please don't forget to subscribe to Founders Future by wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. And if you are a business owner, specifically a coach, consultant, or agency owner, and you're really looking to scale your business and you want to enhance your sales and marketing efforts, visit closers.io to hop on a call with one of our team and discover how we went from zero to $30 million per year in less than 3 years. But until then, keep climbing and we will see you on the next one.